So if you want to set up a continuous delivery, probably, again, one of the cleanest ones is most likely GitHub, Google App Engine. So let me just show you how CD works. CD plus Google App Engine, GAE. So how would we do this? So the way it would work is you would go through here and create a GitHub repo. And then inside that repo, you would have, I think we have time to do this from scratch. We would have a Flask app, like a Hello World Flask app. And then we also would hook this up to their cloud build environment, and it would auto deploy. And so that's what I'm going to set up is every time I make a change, it auto deploys this Google App Engine, and there'll be like a change app or something like that. So let's go ahead and build this real quick. Again, I think I can get this done within potentially 30 minutes or so. We could just crank this out real quick. So in order to do that, I'm going to create a new repo from scratch, and I'll go to GitHub again, and let's just make a new repo. We'll call this Google App Engine CD or continuous delivery. So automatically deploy code for Google App Engine. Okay, and let's go ahead and add all this stuff in here that's useful. Python. Let's do that. Okay, and I'm also going to select this here because this integration will let us do the continuous delivery. So here we go. Here's this thing, this repo, and I'm going to go down to this as well. And boom, there we go. Okay, so now that I got this thing hooked up, what I'm going to do is check this out in my Google Cloud environment. So it's already ready for me here. So I'm gonna deactivate this other virtual environment, and then I'm going to CD up a directory, git clone. Check this out, and then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Right, was virtual environment ~/dot. And I'm just going to add this into my home directory like that. And then I'll source it and do GAE, continuous delivery bin activate, just like that. All right, got this thing cooking. And then from here, I'm going to create this basic structure as well. So let's go to, let's see here. Let's go to this last command. So I'm going to GAE history. So this is the one I want to CD into. Okay. Oh, actually, I think I need to just CD into this. There we go. All right. So I got this thing. Cooking. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before, which is really quickly just create some stuff. I believe it's going to need a make file, and then I have some of this code from a different project. So I'm going to just copy some of this GCP Flask ML deploy. This probably is it. Let's see here. App.yaml. We're going to need that. Yeah, so I'm going to just copy these one by one. So I got app.yaml is one of the things. Yeah, and let's just double check that it's the same. Yeah, app.yaml, we need that. And we're going to need, in fact, since I'm here, I might as well just put it in there. So we're gonna need to put the runtime inside of what we want it to be. So it'll be Python 3.8. Great. There we go. Got that created. We're also, I'm actually going to make a new project as well inside of GitHub. And we'll call this GAE deploy, GAE CD, continuous delivery. Go ahead and create this. And I believe I'll need to change this environment. Hopefully it lets me create a new one. sometimes I create so many projects that it gets upset and doesn't want me to create more of them. But okay, there we go. So, and I think I'm going to need to just close this shell and open it back up again so it'll correctly source that new project. Okay, that looks good. And then I'll CD again into, not this one, into the project that I was just setting up, which is here. Repositories. There we go. So this one, go here, clone it. Okay. So the reason I did that was so that I could get the project refreshed here. So I just need to, what was it? Yeah, this one, continuous delivery. So CD into GAE, continuous delivery. Okay. And then I can source that same thing, then activate. So I guess if I would have created that alias, it would have helped me out to remember all the stuff. Got that working. And what else do I need to set up in here? I need to set up the Flask file itself, which is this one, which is just a super simple Flask app. Let's go ahead and just copy that, paste that in. So, and it has to be called main.py if you're doing this. And so if we go main here, notice that I just pasted in a kind of really simple Flask app. In fact, I think I'm just missing a line of code, which is from Flask, import Flask. It's just an echo command line or Flask app. Okay, that looks good. What else do I need to create in this repo? I need to create a requirements file, and just Flask is all I need to do. That's an easy one. I can just do that real quick. Requirements.txt, and we'll say Flask. I can probably just copy that other makefile here, which I created in this other project. We'll just go through here and I just want that part. There we go. Install. So I think this is to start with. I think we've got everything working. So if I just say make install, this will install my packages. And I guess I should do the upgrade as well, because it always complains about that, right? So I can change my makefile here to do that thing that I typically do, which is in this particular makefile. So if I go back to this, I can make the more fancy makefile step here, which is this step. I'll just replace that. Go here. So we'll just delete this and just swap it out with that. Okay, install. There we go, install. Make install, we'll do it again. And this will just upgrade pip as well as install our packages. Okay, great. Now it's working. If I just type in Python app, or Python main, it should run it locally. Great. We got Flask cooking locally here. Now if I click on this web preview icon, it should let me preview the application. There we go. It works. Hello world. And then if I just do this echo, foo, it should do something, right? Don't I have like I thought I had a route here set up. Let's just see what this app does. I believe there's more to it. That if I do echo, echo name. Okay, so let's try that. Let's do echo. There we go. So it just returns back, echoes back, whatever Bob, there we go, whatever it is I put in there. So we got it working locally. Now the devil in the details here is, we got to push it to App Engine, which has got all kinds of issues potentially, and then we also got to get to continuous delivery set up. So how do we do this? Well, let's go ahead and first do GAE deploy. So I think it's if I remember correctly here, let's go back again to this app. Hopefully I was smart enough to put the step here. So fork a repo and set up trigger. So I think what we need to do is I just need to look at I have one more repo that has the commands. I should have put the commands in here that will let me do the deploy. And so GCP or GCP ML, hello ML, is this the one that has this commands in here? Yeah, so I need to do, gcloud app create. So, and I'm going to put these into this repo as well. So let's go back here and let's just open the editor now. Let's go into more rapid mode of editing. So I'm going to go here, close this, close this, close this, close this, and then go to this project that I'm setting up, which is again GAE continuous deploy. GAE continuous deploy. And let's go to, we've got the main file here, we've got the app file here. Let's go to the README. And for the README itself, well, that's annoying. Okay, hopefully it lets me edit it. There we go. I was like, what? Okay, so we'll say steps to run. And we'll do this. There we go. So bash gcloud app create. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna take that and put it into the terminal. There we go, gcloud app create. It's going to ask me to authorize. Sure, let's go ahead and do that. And we'll say central. That's a good choice. And then it's going to go through it. So it's going to behind the scenes now. I believe it uses most likely Kubernetes, and it's going to kind of wake up Kubernetes and do some fancy stuff. And now it says use gcloud app deploy. So let's go ahead and put that step into our README file and do this, gcloud app deploy. And then I will actually commit this change as well. So I'll say get status, and I'll add all this stuff so other people can get access to it, and say initial setup. There we go. And let's push it. Great. So what do I need to do now is do that final step, right? gcloud app deploy. Let's deploy this thing. Okay, do I really want to deploy it? Yes, I do. Let's go. And it's going to upload these files. So another reason to put the virtual environment into that that home directory is so that you don't want to check in your virtual environment into something like Google App Engine. It will cause all kinds of problems. I believe it'll just not work, and it'll be really hard to debug what's happening. Okay, this probably will take 30 seconds or something like that to get this working. So while this is working, we're close now, because we're going to have this URL right here that will populate, and we can actually go to App Engine as well, and take a look at what's happening here. So it looks like it's actually going pretty quick. It says your app engine has been created, right? And you can also look at there's a whole monitoring system. I think once it wakes up, it will actually give me the access to I don't know why it's not showing up here, but App Engine will, although that's a product page, I think this is the, yeah, there's a dashboard where you can actually go to App Engine, and it will show you all kinds of features in terms of like the running application and logs and all this, all kinds of stuff. I don't know why this thing is taking over here. It's kind of annoying, but hopefully it didn't kill. Okay, yeah, it didn't kill my other service. But let this thing is almost done. But once it's deployed the first time, it'll give you a monitoring dashboard and all kinds of stuff that lets you see what's going on. All right, should be pretty ready to go here in a second. Okay, looks like it's ready to go. All right, so now that it's up and available, I can actually just go directly into a browser and just throw this in there. And in theory, it should be awake. I think it takes a second for it to wake up. There we go. So it's now it's available, and then I can do the same route, right? I can say echo Bob. There we go. So we got our service deployed manually. Now is the hard part, which is not too hard, which is now let's do it automatically, make those changes. So in order to do that, again, I think I have these instructions set up here in my other repo. So we want to set up a trigger for Cloud Build, and we need to also let Cloud Build be an admin for Google App Engine, right? So that's, I'll actually put this link here to this inside of, actually, I'm just going to copy, I'm going to copy this because I've done this earlier. I'll just put this into the same repo. I'll just say this. Here we go. And let's go back to our repo here, open up the editor, and we'll just put these comments inside. Okay, here we go. And just throw that in there. And I will save this and then do get status. And let's just check that in. Get add readme. Okay, updating docs. So let's go ahead and do this now. Let's create a file that let's create a file, this file, cloudbuild.yaml file. And so what this does is it actually allows us to do the same commands that I did earlier by the terminal, and I'm going to do it inside of their environment. So I'm going to go back here and say touch cloudbuild.yaml. Just double check here. That's the same file name. Where is that thing? It's called cloudbuild.yaml. Okay, good. Cloudbuild.yaml. And let's edit this. Let's just paste this in. It should look like that. So it's say steps. Whoops. Steps. Name. There we go. Do app deploy. Okay, that looks good. Now that I've got that, I'm going to commit it. So git add cloud build. Commit this step. Adding cloud build CD step. Okay, let's do here. Now we got this thing cooking. That looks good. And what I will need to do now is go to Cloud Build. And with Cloud Build, what I will need to do is set a new trigger up. So I'm going to go to trigger, and we will say manage repositories, and I need to add a new repository. So I'm going to say GitHub, and I'm going to say continue, It's going to authenticate, and it's going to be this new one I just created, which is called GAE Continuous Delivery. So GAE Continuous Delivery. Let's click on this. Sure, I understand. There we go. So I'm going to create a push trigger, and notice that the build configuration here is that it's going to look for a cloud build file or a Docker file. So Google has actually some pretty good support for Docker file based deployments, but I'm just going to do a cloud build.yaml file, do the push trigger, and there we go. So we got this thing cooking. I believe that should have done it. Let's just refresh here. For some reason it didn't save that. I'll just do it again then. We'll just say, oh no, I hooked up the repo. That's right, I hooked up the repo, and now I need to hook up the push, I believe. Let's just double check. Create trigger. Yeah, create trigger. Okay, so let's go through here and create this trigger. We'll say deploy App Engine, and we'll push to a new branch. Every time there's a push, it'll do a new change. And we'll go through here and we'll say that's the one repo that I told it can do. And then notice auto detect. So if you have a cloud build file or Docker file to detect, we'll just say, auto detect, I think is the way to go, and we'll do create. And I don't know why there's that other trigger. It's funny that I don't know why that other one's there. I'm just going to delete this one because we don't need two. And so this one looks like it's enabled. It's hooked up here, push any branch. Now, this I believe will not work. But let's first run it and show that in fact it won't work because we didn't unknown timeout. Well, that's one problem. Unknown field timeout. Maybe they changed that. Maybe we don't need timeout anymore. So I'll go back here and change that. Maybe we don't need that inside of our application anymore. So I'm going to go back to my example here. Go to cloudbuild.yaml, and let's just take this out. Okay. And let's push it, and this should, in theory, git add commit adding or removing timeout. I don't know if they made a change here to what's going on, but let's go ahead and push it. And this should, again, just kind of trigger this, but it still, I believe, will not work because of the fact that we have to set up a permission. Let's go through here. Okay, so it's running. It now at least is working, but look, it says it failed because the service is disabled. And so what I'll need to do is go to this. I think they even give me the URL for it, but I need to enable this this service. I need to tell Google Cloud Build that it has the permissions to actually do this continuous delivery. So as I mentioned earlier, I believe I've set this up in my project under the documentation. Yeah, continuous delivery. This should be in here now. We need to go to Cloud Build and add that. So let's go back here and go to settings and go to service accounts, and look, see App Engine. This is disabled. We need to say enabled. And so we also need to go to App Engine APIs and enable that. This is something that I think Google needs to get a little bit smoother. But let's go ahead and do this. I also have to enable App Engine APIs. So I had to do two things. Let the Cloud Build service talk to App Engine and enable the ability to programmatically access Google App Engine from this particular project. Okay, I've gone ahead and done that. Perfect. Let's go back to this cloud build environment. And in theory, because that's set up, let me just go back to it. Let's go make this closer to my environment. Okay, so what I can do now is I can actually go to this file. I believe everything works now. And I can just add something new and just say like, hello world, this is auto deploy now. Auto deploy. Let's try that. And if I press this change, I can go back to history and look, it's now, it recognized that change. And then it's going to go through and it looks like it found that image. We got it. And it looked like it says, you don't have permission to act as a service on this account. G-Cloud app deploy. So I got one more error, which is weird because I thought I fixed that. You don't have permission to act on this service account. Let's try it one more time here. Let's see, did I miss something? So I've got App Engine enabled. There may be one other thing that I'm missing here. Is there another? Oh, service account. I also need to enable service account. Yeah, Google is a super fun service to get set up initially. Okay, we enabled that. I'm going to go back here again, and I'm going to try to trigger it again from here. And I'll just go to change the app one more time. We'll say, this is auto deploy, and then we'll say take 2 or take 10, because it takes a long time to set up stuff for Google. Okay, got this working. Commit it, go back here again, go to history. There we go, triggered it again. Hopefully we get a little farther this time. Yeah, so there's like 4 settings you have to configure that are hidden settings that, I think Google should not do that. I think they should have a smoother process. I bet a lot of people just give up and then they never develop apps on Google. But here we go. Here this is. It's deploying. There we go. Looks like it's all cooking and it's working. And the way we can test this out is that it'll show us, I believe, the URL at the end. So it'll take this should be, I think, a pretty quick deploy, and then we'll be able to test this out. So in a nutshell, you can actually fork this repo right here. So you could actually completely fork this repo, and it wouldn't be as hard for you because I did all the stuff that made this work. And there we go. So if we go to this URL like this, let's test this out. Let's go here. It should say take 10. Take 10. There we go. So got continuous delivery set up. Hopefully it was worth the wait.